Hello out there in the land of YouTube and across the internet. This is Robert Gilleo from Tree, Oklahoma, and I'd like to thank you for watching another one of my videos. On this morning of September 18th of 2018, I'm going to be departing Eagles Nest, New Mexico for Questa. I'm going to be passing through Red River, New Mexico. A lot of beautiful area up through here. Now, this is not my first trip to the Enchanted Circle. I first came out here September 7th of 2007. Usually I come in from the east via Springer and Cimarron, New Mexico. When I was headed out here in 2007, I saw a beautiful sunset just east of Springer, New Mexico. Loved it. This morning we stopped at Rex's Hamburger and had a big breakfast burrito before departing. I want to hear a few years ago, this was D&D Cafe. It's about 30 miles from Eagle Nest to Questa. Most generally, I come in from Springer and Cimarron, New Mexico, from the east. It's a very scenic drive itself, and you should at least come in or go out of the Enchanted Circle via Cimarron, Springer at least one time. And that is why I included a lot of these pictures from the area between Springer and Eagle's Nest. To kind of give you an idea of what it's like there. Once you leave Cimarron, you've got a lot of wide spots on the road all the way to Questa where you can pull over, see the scenery, get the occasional photo op picture. Along the way you'll also see a lot of nice cabins and houses. Beautiful place to live at. And for those who love riding motorcycles, a lot of curves. Now, I first learned of the Enchanted Circle from a motorcycle magazine I picked up in late 2006 or early 2007. I had been in northern New Mexico, as far north as Taos, to the northeast, Raton, to the northwest, out there around Farmington, but I wasn't aware of the scenic Enchanted Circle until that motorcycle magazine article. So even though that first full week of September of 2007 was mighty hot, and not to mention there was a hurricane moving in from the Gulf of Mexico that was going to take a route that I might run into some bad weather, I still took my chance and headed up this way. I love the area, and I made up my mind I was coming back again. I've been up here a total of 4 times so far. Now, every time I've been to the Enchanted Circle, I was the only bike in the group. Well, that doesn't mean that I ride alone. There's Len Davis. We've been up and down the highways together a lot in both semis and on motorcycles. He's got a lot of stories to tell too, most of them true. Brother-in-law Dean Walker, we go everywhere. Been as far as Idaho, Montana, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, South Dakota. There's David Bumpus and David Hollingsworth. And my old riding buddy Wesley Davis. We went to high school together, as did Dean Walker and I. My newest riding buddy, Mr. Jude. I'm already giving him driving lessons, but notice I don't let him use that throttle. He'd be running us down the road wide open. I'm always making new friends along the highway, and I almost always wave at everybody. Time for a little bit of music now. And while we're on the subject, a lot of my friends that have seen some of these videos have already asked me why I'm not using some of the popular artist music out there. Instead, I'm using this royalty-free. The reason is plain and simple. It's got to do with copyright. When you use copyrighted material with your videos on YouTube, you can get hits and you can get expelled. You are also setting yourself up for liability for the unauthorized use of the copyrighted material. Yes, I wish there was an easy way to be able to get the proper authority to use copyrighted material, because I could make some great videos with some of the songs that I love. Instead, I use royalty-free music available from epidemicsound.com, as well as other sources that are available mostly by a fee-based membership out there on the internet. Okay, something important that I need to mention about those that I showed I ride with: Len Davis, Dean Walker, David Bumpus, David Hollingsworth, Wesley Davis. We've all drove trucks together. Dean and I worked in the oil field together for a good little while. As teenagers, Dean, Wesley, and I worked at Tommy's Auto and Truck Stop, exit 42, Springer, Oklahoma on I-35. We all share a love for being out there on the road. I think that each one of us can say while we were driving a truck, we've seen a lot of beautiful places that we would have liked to have stopped at and explored a little bit more, but you can't always pull over in a truck and you don't always have time. Different story when we're out here on the highway on motorcycles. When we're out here on the highway together, we stop, read these historical markers often. We go to antique stores. We go to museums. We have a genuinely great time together. And we are always ready to get together again and head off down the highway when we have the time. One of the reasons we enjoy this so much is we take our time and we obey what I believe is the number one rule of the road when you're out there on a motorcycle: leave your ego at home. I see so many mishaps out here on the highway because of those two things: not slowing down and the ego factor. We're starting to get more into the area where we've got curves and some fall foliage again. It's very beautiful along here any time of year, but this fall foliage just adds to it. Now, one of the things you can probably notice about this road here is that it's kind of rutted out. You got a rut on the right side of the lane, you got a rut on the left side of the lane, and you got kind of a high point in the center there. And in some places that can be a little bit of a challenge on a Spyder. It can also be a challenge on a motorcycle, but I believe a little bit more so on a Spyder. The reason being is, having been a truck driver, I understand this. You get into a curve with a vehicle and the weight is going to lean to the outside, and therefore it's going to put that rut on the outside deeper than the one on the inside. So Spyder's kind of leaning a little bit more to the outside. You've got to lean your body to the left to compensate for that. And if you've got a passenger with you, they have got to learn how to do that too. I've also seen some straight highways where the road was kind of built up and the center of the road was definitely a few inches or so higher than the outside of the road. Same thing there. That rut on the right hand side of that lane can be deeper and it can pose a little bit of a challenge. So just pay attention there and be ready. I believe everybody that's rode motorcycles can agree that ruts in the pavement can cause problems on a motorcycle as well. It's really no different in the respect that you got to pay attention. For instance, let's say you're running down the right-hand side of that lane there, in that right-hand rut, and you see something down the road and you need to move over in order to go around it. Having that crown to your left, well, you've got to lean that bike and get up and over that crown, and then down you go in another rut. That can be a challenge sometimes. And I've seen ruts that, for whatever reason, they seem to head towards the side of the road. We were in southeastern Oklahoma one time, and I saw the motorcycle that was up in front of us. He wasn't riding with our group. He had come around us, and he hit a rut like that, and it like to took him off the road. So it's best when you get on roads like this that's kind of rutted there, slow down some. By slowing down, you give yourself and your passenger, if you have one, a bit more of a safety cushion to be able to handle that bike. North of Questa, New Mexico, you head up to Fort Garland, Colorado, and then you hit Highway 160 that takes you to Walsenburg, Colorado. You're going through a mountain pass there, downhill, got some curves, and you got some ruts on that on that highway. And here you are going downhill. That rut's leaning more to the right on the right side, and it can be a bit of a challenge. So pay attention and slow down. Now, I'm sure you've noticed there's not really a lot of traffic out here on the highway today. We are in the last half of September. The summer tourist season is over, and the ski season hasn't started up yet. I would imagine this is a very busy highway during the ski season because up ahead we've got Red River, New Mexico, a very popular ski resort area. Also this time of year, during the non-peak time for traffic, they're doing a lot of road construction up here. And they get it started after the summer tourist season. It's kind of over with, and then they got to get it done before the winter traffic sets in. Here again, when you get into these construction zones, slow down and pay attention. These people are out there on the highways working on them, trying to keep them safe for us, and needless to say, being right there where the traffic's at, they are putting their life at risk. So show them some respect. Slow down. Now we're just now getting into the edge of Red River, New Mexico. I have never stayed here. I've gotten gas here before. When I was up here September 7th of 2007, which was just 4 days after Labor Day, it was actually surprisingly quite busy up here at Red River. I'm not sure what they had going on that day. I started to stop and eat, but it looked like every restaurant was just busy as could be. And I needed to make it on down to Amarillo that night, so I just went ahead and kept proceeding. As you're going to see up ahead, Red River does have a lot of lodging, restaurants, other things geared towards tourism. I myself would love to spend a few days up here during the winter when there's snow. Now I'm going to play a song that was on my Taos to Eagle's Nest video, but this time it has vocals in it.
I'm driving, you're smiling, just really doing nothing. That's the thing I like about you. On the highway, it's our way, Route 66, and we keep on driving. We just do what we wanna do. Yeah, no, nothing's complicated with you. Hey, playing songs on the radio, sing along to the words that we don't know how. Brings out the wildness. Let's just run away, and I could drive the whole along. Being with you is like being on the rodeo highways. Brings out the wildness. I got a little crush on you. You say that I'm crazy. It's just the way that I get every time that I am with you. Your laughter takes me to heaven. I just wanna make you repeat it and repeat it again. Yeah, you make the sky so blue. No, nothing's complicated with you. Hey, playing songs on the radio, sing along to the words that we don't know how. Brings out the wildness. Let's just run away, face and we keep on driving. We just do what we wanna do. Hey, playing songs on the radio, sing along to the words that we don't know how. Brings out the wildness. Let's just run away. Yeah, I could drive the whole night long. Being with you is like being on the rodeo house. Brings out the wildness. I got a little crush on you. Ooh, I got a little crush on you.
Definitely pretty up here in this part of northern New Mexico. As you travel the country in certain areas, you begin to find places you like to stop and eat at, stay at. I always stop at El Charro's in Amarillo, Texas whenever I get to town. It's a full day's ride, but most of the time I make it to Springer, New Mexico, and I have supper there at Alita's. And no matter what time of the evening it is, they're always more than willing to fix a person a hot cup of coffee. Then just a little ways down the road is the Oasis Motel, where I'll spend the night at. On further west down US 64, you come to the town of Cimarron, New Mexico, the last town before you reach the Enchanted Circle. Several choices of both cafes and lodging. If you're passing through Las Vegas, New Mexico, stop at the Regal Inn. That's where motel scenes for the movie No Country for Old Men were filmed at. In Eagle's Nest, you got the Econo Lodge. There's additional dining and lodging in Eagle's Nest as well. Down the road at Red River, New Mexico, we've got quite a bit of lodging and dining. And let's not forget our turning point, Questa, New Mexico. There's dining and lodging there as well. You can go north to Fort Garland, Colorado, or head on south to Taos, New Mexico. For those of you who would like to continue on around the Enchanted Circle towards Taos, there's a couple more communities between Questa and Taos, and a lot of beautiful scenery. There's some of those ski slopes of northern New Mexico. I loved this beautiful new house they were building. Now we're just getting into the edge of Taos here, and when I was there in 2007, I stopped at this little pottery shop. Had some beautiful stuff in here. My mother would have went absolutely nuts if I'd have taken her in there. Then as you get more into town, you've got dining. There are art galleries there. A lot to do in Taos, New Mexico. A lot of people like to move there and retire. On the way back, I often stop at the Wild Horse Grill and Steakhouse in Clayton, New Mexico for dinner. Clayton's where I usually stop at for the last night on the road. I've stayed many times at the Holiday Motel in Clayton, New Mexico. First time was back in the late 80s when I was driving a truck. Nice place to relax at on that last day before you get home. Now, I've stopped at a lot of places on these journeys. I can't say I've ever been anywhere that I would not go back to again. I find the people where I stay at or dine at or stop to get gas and a cup of coffee have always been friendly and courteous. They're more than willing to answer questions, to make recommendations about what you should do while you're in the area. That is a very big part of what makes these road trips that I go on so enjoyable. The places I stop and the people I meet and talk to. Now I'm at Questa, New Mexico, headed north on New Mexico 522 up towards Fort Garland, Colorado. It does turn into Colorado State Highway 159 once you cross the state line. Since I did not see a gas station as I was headed north out of Questa, I decided to turn around and go back to south towards Taos. I did recall a gas station being down there just from memory. Haven't been around that way a couple times. Better safe than sorry. Even with GPS and these programs, applications that help you find gas stations, cafes, motels, dining, places to get repairs done at, I've seen too many gas stations that were there yesterday and closed up tomorrow. So, not worth taking a chance when you know you're nearby a gas station and you got a ways to go. Thank you, everyone, for watching our video. Seems like my little co-pilot, Jude, is always in here wanting to help me out on making these videos. And even though we don't venture off too far away from the house, down the neighbor's house, down to the church, on past the corner, we do take short rides on the Spyder, mostly to get him used to it. But Jude truly enjoys riding it. Papa's going on Mrs. Blue.
I want to come with you. I want to come with you. I want to come with you.
Nope, you can't tonight. Don't you know this is breaking my heart? I would love to take you with me, but I can't.
Please.
Please understand, okay? To video my road trips, I use a GoPro Session 4 action camera mounted to the side of my helmet, and I've got an arm out there to kind of get that camera on out further. To keep this camera going all day long, I use a U-Green power bank 10,000 milliamp per hour external battery. Thanks again for watching my video, and please always remember, there still ain't no feeling like cowmobiling.